Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You are hanging out with Loretta. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how I made this oxtail, and I am gonna leave a link down below in the description box for the smash. I have already uploaded the video for that. And yeah, if you have any comments or any questions, please do let me know. Thank you. I will go ahead and list the ingredients down below and the measurements. But yes, I have spices, I have onion, I have a whole lot of other things, carrots, I have my oxtail right in front of me. I'm just letting that drain because I did wash it before this video. So I'm just letting it drain properly before I start cutting it. And then there I have flour. I'm just going to spice that. I'm adding some salt and I'm adding black pepper only. And I'm going to put that on the side. Make sure to mix it well so that the entire flour has salt and pepper, and just put it on the side. Right now I am going to cut my oxtail, and those small pieces don't normally have fat, so what I'm trying to do now is kind of take out anything that doesn't have fat and put it in the flour, and then anything with fat I'll cut after. So I'm just working around that and just making sure that I pick up the right pieces that don't have fat, because one thing about oxtail is that it's very fattening. It will still have a lot of fats. I'm sure you've seen in the pictures I posted before, the food was very oily and didn't use much oil, but it just generates a lot of oil as you cook it. So those are the pieces without fats. I'm just dunking them in that flour, and I'm going to set them aside, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the other pieces and create space for them in this bowl. Okay guys, so now I am cutting the fats. So I'm just trimming the fatty oxtail. And you guys know I've mentioned this before. I did on my live that I actually love this mangane knife. It is so sharp. It's sharper than any other knife that I have. So I'm just going to use that. Go ahead and use whatever works for you, which is sharper. And just chop all of that fat. My mom does not like chopping the fat out of oxtail. She believes it's food wasted, but guys, the fat on this food, once you cook it, it's just way too much. So I'm gonna trim all of that. Stay with me. And maybe also what would help is when you buy it, just try to look for one that has more meat versus fat. Unfortunately, I didn't pick out this one. My partner did, but not in a bad light. He did a good job, because I think this was value for money. This was one packet and we got it for 100 rands. Yeah, around 100 rands at Checkers. Right, so now I'm putting that also in the flour, and I'm just going to toss it and turn it and make sure that every piece has flour. All right, and now for the most exciting part and probably the easiest step of this is we are gonna make our own beef liquid stock. How easy is that? I'm only adding 2 cubes of liquid stock in hot water. I'm covering it and I'm gonna let it boil. I'm cooking at that medium heat, and in about 5 minutes you have liquid stock. How easy is that? Instead of buying one that is like half the size of this for like 50 rands if not more, and yeah, voila, using about 2 cubes, which would probably cost you less than 3 rands, and your own water, and you have liquid stock which is double the size. So guys, please keep this trick. You can use chicken stock anytime when you're making chicken. When you're making beef, use beef stock, vegetable stock. Just pop it in water and you have your liquid stock. Look at that. It's got oil. It's got all the flavors in it. So you don't need to add anything. I'm not going to add anything because I also don't want my food to be salty. And now we are going to fry the oxtail. It's got flour, and I'll tell you what the flour does later. But now we are going to fry that, and we are going to let it rest on the side once all of the pieces are fried. And just carry on tossing and turning. You will only take it out when it's brown. Some people do kind of leave it for longer to kind of get that charred taste, but I am gonna get mine at the end, and you guys will see how. Sometimes it's a bit tricky. If you char it now, your chances are you may just mess it up. So I suggest you don't. Just get that nice golden brown color. If you char it now, you could actually have something that smells like smoke, like chauke, and yes, in English, twindona, but we don't want it to chauka, okay? So, yeah, I'm just gonna turn it around and even put it like the other direction, facing up, so that all the parts of the oxtail are properly fried. What's nice about this is that it's got salt, it's got pepper, so that is like, as we're frying it, it's kind of locking in that flavor onto the oxtail. And also guys, when I added that salt, that was the last time I added salt with this entire oxtail. I'm not going to be touching salt again. I only put salt on the flour. Don't use it. I know as you're cooking this, you're probably going to want to add more, thinking that it's not spicy enough. But what will happen is, as you finish your oxtail, you actually taste all the different spices or the different things that you've added in it. So please don't. Even that liquid stock will kick in. So that was just a picture of the pieces that are fried. There they are again. This is the spices that I'm going to use. I'll list them down below. And in the same oil, I am frying onion. So I know you guys are going to probably think that this is gross, but this is how you actually make it. In that oil, there is flour, there is salt, there is pepper, and there is a little bit of oil from the actual oxtail. So that oil is very crucial. Do not throw it out. Do not take anything out. What you see that's right at the bottom, that's kind of stuck there, leave it. It will cook with the oxtail, because you are going to cook this for 4 hours. So we're going to do 3 hours on the actual stove, and then I'm going to put it 1 hour in the oven. Actually, I'm going to put it for less in the oven. So just make sure your onion is translucent. Translucent meaning soft. It's releasing the sugars in the onion. I have added rosemary, I've added 2 bay leaves, and I have also now I'm adding garlic, I'm adding ginger and my spices, and I'm just tossing and turning and frying all of that together. I always legit do this when I'm cooking meat. I always fry onions first, and then I cook at low heat. Most of my meals do not require water because I first fry like this and then I'll let the food simmer at low heat and it will cook itself. So I'm applying the same method now. What happens is that onion and the spices will, the flavors of the onion and the spices will transfer onto the meat, and your meat will have taste on its own. Please try it with anything that you cook. Doesn't have to be oxtail. Fry onions, put spices, then put in your meat, and then turn down your heat. Even cook it too, and just take time. Even if it's chicken, you will taste the flavors in the meat just with no water. Okay, so I'm just gonna stir that and make sure that all of that oxtail has the spices from the onions, and then it will look something like this. You leave it for about 5 minutes. I'm cooking this at medium heat. My stove is on 4. I did mention before, my stove, the highest temperature on the stove is 9, so I'm using 4. So you guys can estimate with your stove. I don't think we all have the same stoves. Just make sure it doesn't burn. Keep checking on it. Keep tossing and turning. The longer you keep it there, the nicer the flavor on the meat. See how brown that is? Perfect. So if we had red wine, because now there's lockdown, we don't have wine. We don't sell alcohol. I don't have wine. I would have added the wine to fry with the onions. A cup of red wine, if you do have, please use, and then just let it simmer for that 5 minutes. Open it and then just stir it, and then you start adding your liquid stock. So I've gone ahead and added half of what I made. Liquid stock, it's about 1 liter of liquid stock, so I'm gonna add about 500 mils, and I'm just gonna stir that, cover it until that liquid stock is kind of simmers and goes down a bit. So you will have to obviously keep checking on it. Remember, our stoves don't work the same way, so it may not be the same thing, but just keep checking on it. I also was checking on it a lot, and this is about 40 minutes later, and I'm going ahead and adding more liquid stock. And I'm going to give that a stir. I'm going to cover it again and just let it cook on its own. Actually, it wasn't 40 minutes, guys. Now that I think about it, it was more than an hour. Just felt like it was shorter, I think, because I just enjoy what I'm doing, so time kind of really moves fast. And I think I've mentioned to you guys before, me and measurements, and also just timing myself. I'm terrible with that. I've added thyme, herbs. I didn't add it before because I didn't have, so I had asked my dearest partner to go buy for me at the shops. So this is now another hour plus later, and my thyme has already kind of shredded from the actual stem. I'm going to leave the stem. It's going to release more flavor. I'm adding my carrots only now because what I don't want is to add the carrots right at the beginning and then I have soggy carrots. So do add them at a later stage. This is probably like 2 hours now later. And here I have 3 tomatoes. I am just shredding that in the blender. You can go ahead and chop them if you don't have a blender. It's really not a train smash. You're still going to put this in the oven, so it's going to cook finely and you won't even see big chunks of tomato. So I've added that tomato in there. Tomatoes in there. I'm covering it up for about another 40 minutes, and now it's almost 3 hours and I've taken that out. I've put it in a casserole dish, just giving it a stir and just making sure everything is properly tucked in there. I'm gonna now put this in the oven. You can go ahead and use foil. I don't want to use foil to cover this. Foil helps it cook even faster. That foil thing generates heat. So I'm going to put it in the oven, and that's my settings. My settings is top to bottom, and I'm cooking it at 200. And yes, guys, 30 minutes later it looks something like this. So I have spent about 4 hours cooking this, and that is my version of it being charred. So it charred at the top, and I did mix it well again, and you won't really see that char, but you kind of taste it. And this is how it looks. What do you guys think? And I must say, this was falling off the bone, guys. It was so delicious. Please let me know if you have tried it. And yeah, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and please make sure to share it. Please subscribe. I love you.